What is up, lads and lassies? It's your boy Lugadamon back with part 2 of Path of Radiance LTC. If you couldn't tell from the last video, declaring this as a professional LTC is mostly satire. I have played this game a lot, but it's mostly just to test my ability and to see what's up. Just for pure transparency, this is my second time recording this. As you can see, I completed chapters 3 and 4 last night. But for some reason, OBS just stopped recording, so I didn't get like any of the footage. I do still want to use this save file just for I can't think of the word. Just to like make it legitimate, because I like the strats I used in this and I like the levels I have. But just to record and show off what I did, I am going to be replaying chapters 3 and 4 just so I can have it for the future. I also will be periodically probably checking to make sure I'm still recording, because I don't want that to happen again. So if you see my mouse across the screen, that's why. I'm sorry if that triggers anybody, like the 2 people who are watching. So when I'm replaying this, I'm just playing with fixed growths. That way I can just play to show off my strategies. So none of the level ups that happen in these 2 maps are going to matter. I mostly just want this for continuity and to kind of show what I'm doing, and also so I can talk about the units that we get. Because I didn't get that last time. So I realized when watching the first video, there's a couple things I want to adjust. So the first of those is that the sound effects are extremely loud, especially like the cursor moving is just blaringly loud. So I'll turn that super down, and then I'll turn the music down just a couple clicks, maybe just 1 click. Rumble, I don't think that does anything because this is for like the GameCube controller, so I'll just turn that off just to make sure. I think everything else should be fine. I like to have the gridness up just a little bit more, that way I can see. And I also realized that in my last video, I forgot to talk about this guy right here, Riss. So he's the healer you get in Chapter 2. He has really high magic and really high resistance, and pretty much nothing else. I guess his luck's okay. He usually will have luck as well. So the thing with Riss is he's the first healer that you get, and he's the only healer you have until Chapter 9. So just for that alone, he's extremely useful for the early game. Looking to as the game goes on, so the next healer you recruit will be Mist, and she eventually gets a mount, so she's probably better for that. I also find that in late game Path of Radiance, you actually have pretty limited deployment slots, so I like for my healers to also have combat utility, so I typically will prefer using some of the other mages, like Soren or Eliana, because they have combat with magic, and also they have staves. When Riss promotes, he does get access to magic, but because he's so slow and so frail, he can pretty much only do 1 big chip damage, but he's a huge liability on enemy phase. He does have because his magic is so large, he does end up with really huge physics, which is super useful. But typically, I like to use Riss for the early game, and then I'll usually kind of drop him after the mid game is over. That's usually how I play with him. But for the early game chapters, he's absolutely essential. We also get 2 more units in this map. So we'll start with Gatry, my boy Gatry, the flirt himself. If I can open the stack screen, there we go. So Gatry is your typical armor knight. He's got really high strength, really high defense, and really high HP. Everything else is kind of dookie trash. Especially his speed is just really bad. And also, I find that his skill can be really lackluster too. His accuracy kind of suffers in the late game. The thing with Gatry, though, is most of the other units you have are kind of on the frailer side. Well, kind of. I mean, it's mostly just that he's so much bulkier than everything else. He's basically like Titania without the movement. If Titania can run ahead, if Titania can run forward to kill stuff, Gatry can hang back and soak up all the damage to then feed the kills to your scrubs. So he's very useful early game. But then after Chapter 7, after Chapter 7, he leaves and he doesn't come back again until Chapter 13. And when he comes back, his low speed is a huge problem. He gets doubled by most mages, and he can actually get one rounded by some of them. The thing with him, though, is that his caps are really good as a general, which normally caps don't matter because you're probably not going to reach that. But because the enemy stats in late game are so high, the generals have a 30 defense cap, and so if you want to train Gatry to his defense cap as a general, he can be super useful in maps like Clash and the final chapter, just because he takes no damage. And you can also give him the Luna skill to kind of chip down the bulkier enemies. And because this is Path of Radiance, you have access to the Night Ward, which boosts his speed growth, so his speed can end up after lots of levels not being too bad. However, at the end of the day, he's still a footlocked armor knight with low movement and low speed, and it takes a lot of work to give him kills in the late game to get him to that point. But if you want to, it is an option. But at the end of the day, if you really just want to use Gatry for his early game utility, he's not going to let you down. And then we'll have Shannon. So Shannon is probably one of my favorite characters just because he's kind of an asshole and he's just funny. But I think he's a very realistic character in that sense because like he has reasons for hating the people that he does, mainly just because he's racist. And I like characters that are just real like that. I'm not that I like racist people. It's mostly just that I think he's a realistic character. So the thing with Shannon, is his stats at this point in the game are really strong. He has enough strength and speed to double most things, and he can one-round many enemy types. Like he can one-round all the archers, many Myrmidons, stuff like that. And then for the other enemies, he's really good at dealing chip damage and feeding the kills to your scrubs. He's really, really good at that. The thing with Shannon, though, is that he, like Gatry, he leaves after Chapter 7, and he doesn't come back again until Chapter 18. And by the time he comes back, like when he comes back, his stats are just absolute trash. Stats are just absolute trash. I have trained him at that point, and because his growths are really good, he can turn out well in the late game. Bows only have double effectiveness in this game, which is kind of a drag, but sometimes with how bulky the Wyvern Lords are in the late game, sometimes you just need a bow unit with a silver bow who can just go and do a bunch of damage to them. So I like using him just because he's fun to train, just because he levels up really well, and he's great to use in the early game. But generally, it's not recommended to use him, and especially in this kind of playthrough where LTC is, or I'm trying to play quickly. He's going to be essential for the early game, and then just completely worthless in the late game. Something else to mention about Shannon is he has the skill Provoke, which makes enemies want to target him. And because he's locked to 2 range, he's actually a really effective sponge to kind of soak up damage from some of the enemies sometimes. Okay, let's look at the map really quickly. So I'm just going to reposition. So something to keep in mind with this map is that Marcia, our lovely Pegasus Knight, is going to spawn on this boat. I used to think that she would just spawn always on turn 2, but it's actually, as soon as you cross this horizontal plane right here, that's when she spawns. And so actually, it's best to wait 1 turn before spawning her, because if she spawns immediately, then these three goons can gang up and kill her if they all hit her, which is just not worth the risk. So I usually will sit Titania right here, and then I'll run her up on the bow on turn 2, and that makes it pretty safe. Let me go ahead and save really quick, just to keep that up. Let me double check and make sure I'm still recording. I am. That's awesome. Let's go and start the map then. Here we go. Alright, Titania's gonna go over and bonk this guy. Yep, just fine. Yeah, I think it's simply impossible to overstate how strong Titania is in the early game. I'm pretty sure she could take, if all the enemies on this map hit her, I think she could take all of the hits and still live. She's just completely busted, which is really fun. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chip this guy with Shannon. And I'm going to... Okay, well, actually, that actually happened last night, too, when I was recording. He crit that guy, which is pretty funny. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use... I think if I chip with the Iron Lance, that should be enough. Yes, that actually works out great. Okay, so Gatry is going to chip this guy with the Iron Lance as long as he hits. Nice, and that Ike can just kill him with the Steel Sword, which is very convenient for EXP purposes. When I did this map yesterday, I actually don't remember what my turn count was, but I did get the full bonus experience, because the normal turn count minimum is 6 turns, and like Titania ended up critting the boss, so the map finished the turn early, which is pretty cool. Alright, yep, so those guys are going to come down. Yep, these 2 pirates will suicide on Titania, which is nice. When it comes to like YouTube commentary, I'm never sure if it's better to talk the whole time or to kind of let there be silence. I'm never really sure what the play is. I feel like if there's silence, it can be a little bit awkward. So if I'm just yapping way too much, then I will have to work on that. Anyway, so Titania has 9 movement, so she can literally just run all the way around these guys and just kill this pleb. Bonk. Just bonk him in the face. Super useful. And so now Marcia has... There's no chance that she can die anymore, which is very useful to know. Because now she'll spawn here, out of range of all these guys up here. And if both of these guys hit her, she has a vulnerability that she will use. And if only one hits her, then she's totally fine. So she's completely safe right now. So what I want to do now is I want to kill this archer with Shannon. Let's use the iron bow for that reliability boost. Yes, and then I want to be getting Ike super forward so I can get him onto the boat ASAP. So what I will do then is I will chip this Myrmidon with Gatry, and then I will kill him with Ike for EXP. Which sounds pretty dope to me. Here we go. Bonk his face in. Okay, so there's Marcia. Oh, she actually spawns 1 tile lower than I was expecting, but that's alright. Either way, she's going to be totally fine. Yep. Totally fine. And yep, totally fine. See, she got hit by one of them, but I'm gonna kill the other one on this turn. So there's no risk of her dying at all. Okay. So now Ike, if I count the tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's actually 1 tile short of reaching Marcia with his full movement. So the way to counteract that is I'm going to kill this archer with Shannon. Just to get him out of the way. And then I'm going to move Ike his full movement and then shove him with Gatry. Actually, I'm going to instead shove him first. That way Gatry is in range of the Elixir House on the next turn. Let's do that. That'll work better. So then I can move his full movement up here. And Titania will kill... I think it's better to use the steel axe. She actually is going to lose an axe because when one of these guys drops a hand axe. Maybe not. Oh, it's one of these guys drops it. I do kind of want that for next turn. Because I'm not actually... So, inventory management is actually really important on Maniac mode. In this case, because I'm just playing this just to demonstrate that I've done it, I'm just going to kill this guy and drop an axe. Forever. But generally speaking, you do not want to do this. Yeah, so right now I actually have to drop one of my axes. I'll just drop this iron axe. See you, buddy. And then I'm going to move her all the way up here. That way she can kill all these enemies up here. Yep, so now Marcia's completely fine. She's just chilling. Yep, so all these goons are going to come attack her, and she's going to be completely fine. And she should kill all the Myrmidons. If that guy attacks Shannon, that's totally fine. She actually doesn't double with the steel axe. Well, I probably should use the iron axe then instead, but that's alright. Not a huge deal. Oh, there actually are a lot of enemies right now. Maybe I should have just used this iron axe. That's okay. Yeah. I forgot that all these guys have hand axes. When I did this yesterday, I definitely used the iron axe and it was faster. So, that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, so Ike's actually in range of this guy, so he'll kill. And then this guy will come down too, which is fine. I'm going to bring Shannon up onto the boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to put him here, because he'll be totally fine against these enemies. I might use a vulnerary just to make sure he's okay. Yep. And then with Titania, I'll kill this one sword guy. There we go. Boom. And then I'll bring her down here. So all these guys should come down and they should want to attack Shannon. And then, oops, that's the wrong button. So now Gatry can come down here and he can visit this village. Get the elixir for us. There we go. That's fine. Shannon doesn't really care about getting attacked by that guy. And now Shannon will chip the boss, which is really nice. There we go. Ike gets a kill here. So like I said earlier, Titania ended up actually creating the boss when I played this chapter yesterday. Which isn't a necessarily, I mean, she can use the experience too. It's actually kind of an interesting concept to talk about, where it's like, is it better to give the boss kills to your scrubs or to your Jagan? I think most people would probably say your scrubs, but I think the thing about that is, like, your scrubs already get a decent amount of EXP from the generic units, and they do get a lot from boss kills. They do get a lot, but Titania doesn't get any experience from the scrubs, and she gets a pretty decent chunk from the boss. So because she also wants experience too, sometimes it is better just to give the boss kill to her. So actually what I can do right now is I think Ike can one-shot this guy with the steel sword. Yes, he can. So what I will do is I'll just kill this guy, and then I'll just give the boss kill to Ike. Keeping in mind that I did not do this yesterday, but that's alright. This is simply just to show that I've played these chapters. Okay, and then Ike can kill... Actually, I might as well attack with Shannon again, just for a little bit of EXP. Bloop. There we go. And then Ike will kill this guy, just to finish the chapter. Nice. Yeah, Ike actually has custom conversations with every single boss in this game, which is a really cool feature that they added. Nice. Yep, I'm just playing on fixed growths just to kind of make sure things are all right. Yep. We're gonna move on to chapter 4 now. I will be playing chapter 4 along with chapter 3. Yep, Ike gets the Wriggle Sword, which is all well and good. And then actually, when I played this map yesterday, I did end up having to drop one of my axes, because I think I killed somebody and I got something I had to drop. I don't remember what it was. Might have been a vulnerary. Honestly, don't remember, but not a huge deal. So I'll trade a vulnerary to Soren, just so he has one. And then I will be giving one of my axes to Riss. I don't need... let me see. I do want the steel axes for this chapter. I might just trade away this lower use steel axe to have it for later. Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds good to me. Alright, we also get a new unit this chapter, so let's go ahead and talk about him really quickly. Here's Soren. Always lost in your books, as he is. So Soren is the first mage you get in this game. There's three total unpromoted mages, and you get 2 promoted sages in the late game. Soren's pretty good. He has really high magic. His base is bad, but he has really high magic. He has a 60% magic growth, so eventually his magic will end up being really high. And his speed base is decent. His speed growth is average. So depending on how he procs his level ups, he will end up being maybe decently fast. Let me double check I'm still recording just to make sure. I am. That's awesome. Okay. So as I alluded to earlier with Riss, Soren, when he promotes, he can either choose the option to get stabs, or he can get knives if you're a heathen or if you're Excelblum. And with stabs, because his magic is so high, he has really long range physics, and he also has utility with the rescue staff really late game if you wanted to use that. He also can use siege tomes for that kind of thing. So Soren's early game is like because he trying to think of how to word this effectively. Because his magic base is low and the wind tome has really low might, his first impression is kind of bad because he doesn't double very much and he does little damage. But as long as you give him some growth, he usually ends up being okay. Typically what I'll do is I'll try him out and see how he levels up. If he doesn't level up too great, then I'll switch him out for somebody else, for one of the other mages. But even if his speed doesn't get super high, as long as he gets his average speed, he can double most of the armor knights and generals in the late game, and those enemies are just obscenely hard to kill without magic, so he has utility in that way. So Soren, I think, is always worth trying to train in the early game just to see if he levels up okay, and if he doesn't get good level ups, you can just bench him and you can use some of the other mages. But even if you just keep using him and you promote him and use him for staff utility, that's still really good because his magic is so high. All right, so in this chapter is kind of the first real example of what Maniac mode is going to be, where there's just a frick ton of enemies and we have to take them all out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to charge Titania right up the front, and she's going to take them all out. And the scrub puzzle down here, I'm going to be using them and just taking on the rest of the enemies down here. So let's do that right now. I'm going to save really quickly just to make sure I'm good. Alright, and then we can start the map. Here we go. Let me zoom back in a little bit. So Titania's just going to run up here and she's going to kill this archer with the steel axe. Her accuracy's not that great. I think she maybe can use the iron axe. I feel like there's sometimes a couple soldiers that don't die to the iron axe. I'm trying to remember what their stats have to be for that to work, for that to happen. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just these two up here that can happen with. I don't quite remember. Maybe I can just use the iron axe this time around. If I check, let me check all these guys. Like if I just use the iron axe. Yeah, I think they have to spawn with 8 defense to survive. They have to have 8 defense and 27 HP. I don't think any of these guys have that. Yeah, so what I will do is I'll just use the iron axe to kill this archer. So you might be wondering why am I not using a hand axe, because there's archers up here, and the reason for that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I'll put her here. The reason for that is if I use the hand axe immediately, there's so many enemies it's going to break, and I want it for the next map. For these guys down here, I'm just going to have Gatry equip his steel lance. Ike's going to come here and equip the regal sword. Rest is going to get in the corner like the crybaby he is, and Shanon's going to stand here and block Soren with his steel bow. There we go. Alrighty. And now, this map is also the first time you get to bear witness to the Maniac mode enemy phase, which they tend to be very, very, very long. Like, you could honestly probably start your college, go to college and finish all 4 years, and then start a job, and then come back, and the enemy phase will still be going. That's kind of the running joke in the series. I will say my voice is kind of tired, so I think I will take a couple little bit of silence and just let the game play out. Man, Ike is on a critting rampage right now. He's crit both the soldiers that have attacked him. He's killed both of them, which is pretty awesome. I don't think I've ever seen it happen before. So something I've been doing lately is I've been trying to get into the Pokemon TCG. I've been living with my aunt and uncle and my cousin for the last couple weeks, and my cousin is really into the TCG, so he's been teaching me how to play a little bit. And I actually bought a pack for the first time last night in probably 10 years since I've bought a pack. I'm getting old, unfortunately. And it was fun. It was really fun to open it, and I really enjoyed playing the game. I like playing card games a lot. I especially like traditional card games like Hearts and Spades and Euchre. I'm a huge fan of those. I like the card game Dominion, if anyone's heard of that. It's a lot of fun to play. But the TCG, it's just fun because, like, I mean, I mean, I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so I know all of the Pokemon, and there's a lot of strategy to it, and it's a lot of sequencing, like what's the correct order to play cards in. So lately, my cousin's decks that I've used, I've tried out Ceruledge, I've tried out Mega Lopunny, I've tried out Mega Sharpedo, I tried out this Dragapult Charizard deck, which was pretty fun. So anyway, I can maybe talk about that later. But right now, we're gonna deal with this enemy phase. So first things first, I want to take out the rest of these one range guys. You might see this Night Killer and get a little bit afraid for Titania, but he does a full 9 damage to her, and so she's completely fine. So what I'm going to do is I might just sit her in this bush down here. I will kill this archer and then sit her in the bush. And then she can kill all of the soldiers, and then I can run back towards the enemies to kind of bring the boss towards the scrub so I can try to get the boss killed with somebody else. Let's do that. Okay, and then now we have a bit of a puzzle down here I have to deal with. So Shannon can kill this guy, which I will do. He is a little bit in danger because he actually got hit by literally everything, but I believe that he will be fine. So he will be. Ike actually cannot kill this guy, but that's alright. I think with Ike, I will just sit and use a Vulnerary. I'll equip the Thief Band just because. And to make sure Shannon doesn't die, I'm actually going to move Soren here. I'm going to chip this fighter from up here. Something else to mention about Soren too, which I forgot when I was talking about him, is he has the skill Adept. I can show it to you. Basically what this does is when it triggers, it's a skill % chance to proc, and when it triggers, he enters a second round of combat, or he attacks again. So if Soren doubles, he has a chance to proc Adept on both attacks, which if he does, he'll attack 4 times. Or if he only procs it once, he'll attack 3 times if he doubles. Generally speaking, it's not a skill you should rely upon. It's better on your Juggernaut unit later in the game, like if you want to give it to Marcia or Jill late game, because they're just going to be seeing lots of combat. It can help because sometimes they might be able to actually kill something, which is cool. So that guy's actually running away, which is crazy. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I healed him because he just wants to get hit by everything right now. Titania will take out the rest of these idiots, which is good. Yep, Ike. You're gonna crit this guy too? No? Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's also fine. So the win condition for this map is defeat boss. So even if I don't kill all these enemies, that's okay. And actually, this chapter has a really strict turn limit of only 4 turns, which is pretty tight. It's pretty stringent. I think this was turn 3, I want to say. Oh, actually, no, I think this was just turn 2, wasn't it? Yeah, because the enemy phases just take so long. Okay, so now there's only 2 archers left, which is really nice. Okay. Alright, so now what I can do is I want to keep pulling this boss down towards me, so I will use the hand axe. I don't want to chip him because then she'll kill him, which I don't want to do, unless she decides to crit, which is probably okay. So I will attack this archer, try to kill him. There we go. And I'll run her down and keep her in range of the boss. Maybe should have had her kill somebody down here just to kind of clean up things a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, maybe I should have done that. That's alright. Shannon, I will use... Do you double this guy? Yes, you do. Okay. And you still do not do any damage, which is awesome. Okay, I think my strategy for this last time was cooler, but that's okay. I will just kill this guy with Gatchery. Which works, and then with Shannon, I will kill one of these archers. That way he gets out of my face. Boom, there we go. Awesome. Then with Ike, I will not attack, but if he gets hit by everything, he'll die, so I think I will take a Vulnerary from Soren just to use that to make sure he's okay. We're going to use the Vulnerary, he should be just dandy. Then with Soren, we're going to chip just because we can. Now Shanna's healed, and he should be all good to go. Here we go. Yeah, so those guys are both running away, which is totally fine. The archer should attack Ike. Yep, that's great. There we go. So the archer actually is in the way of the boss. So if Titania misses, I'll have to chip him. I'll have to use her to chip the boss. But she didn't miss, which is great. So now the boss will be chipped on enemy phase. Yep. Nice. Bloop. Bloop. There we go. Ike should be able to kill him with the Regal Sword. So the Regal Sword is actually a really useful item for Ike. Sometimes if his strength is really bad, because he just doesn't want to level it, the Regal Sword doesn't weigh very much, and it has more might than an Iron Sword. So it's just really useful. And it also has... It has effective damage against mounted units and against knights, which is really useful. So for example, if I take Ike to attack this guy, he does bonus damage. Because there are actually a decent amount of cavalry in the early game, so it gets a little bit of use that way, which is nice. Okay, I do want to give a kill to Soren if I can. So, oh, he actually doesn't double that guy. That's okay. I think I want to say Gatry plus Soren can kill that guy. So I'll kill this archer with Shannon. I was able to give a couple more kills to Soren when I played this chapter previously, but that's all right. He actually doesn't do enough. Wow, that's tough. Huh. I could also, I guess I could try to get the boss kill to Soren. Yeah, let's do that just for demonstration purposes, because Gatry can chip him, and then Soren can get the boss kill. Boom. There we go. Then Ike still can't kill this guy, but that's alright. Actually, I don't think Titania... No, she will go on, because she's just awesome like that. Not with the Steel Axe, though. So I could chip this guy with a Steel Axe, and then... Which, this also doesn't matter, because I'm not going to be applying this file. And then Ike can actually not kill. That's alright. Elbozo. Okay, and then Soren will kill the boss. There we go. A mage, eh? Yep. See you, buddy. Nice. And get the javelin. There we go. Pretty cool. Alrighty. So, I get the full bonus experience, which is great. And I will be saving over this, but starting for the next episode, I will be starting from my previous save file. So I'll see you guys next time.